spread out. East of the Cascades, probably, or Central Oregon, in the mountains at down to 2,500 feet, the snow level, but there's not going to be much there. However, in a couple of days, we got one coming in for Friday. But tomorrow, 54 in Portland and Seattle, 62 in Medford. Have a great day.
On World News Tonight this Tuesday, is the Republican nomination race over? Not by a Michigan mile. The idea of giving preschool children mood-altering drugs. How good an idea is that? Should people who use cellular phones really have to pay for incoming calls? Maybe the government will change its mind. And using the building blocks of life to replace parts of the body that are old or damaged. Scientists are thinking seriously about new hearts.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We begin again tonight with the hurly-burly, up and down, fast like the wind presidential primary season for Republicans. If this is Tuesday, it must be Michigan and Arizona. And it's a very big day for Arizona Senator John McCain. We project that he's the winner in Michigan by a comfortable margin, and he is also the winner in Arizona by a wide margin. First, let's take a look at Michigan. This was a Republican primary, but here is how John McCain won it. Only 47% of the voters who showed up today were actually Republicans. Democrats and independents, as you can see, they're actually made up the majority of voters, and their collective interest in John McCain made the difference. That point alone is going to continue to provide the Republican Party with a real struggle in the days and months ahead. The questions are, is it more important to have a candidate like Mr. Bush, who party Republicans seem to like better, or do they want someone who may well have a better chance of winning the White House by taking Democrats and independents away from the Democratic nominee? We're going to talk very briefly now to our correspondents who cover the campaign. Linda Douglas covers the John McCain campaign. They placed enormous importance on Michigan today, and they won it. What was the importance?
They are saying tonight, I just talked to a senior strategist who said this does prove that John McCain can back up his claim that he can expand the Republican Party and bring into that party union members, African Americans, and so forth. They're saying tonight that Bush has proved that he is the candidate of the Christian right. Michigan, they say, is a state that you have to win a general election. Ground zero in a general election, they call it. And the only way you do that is with crossover voters, and McCain got those tonight, Peter.
Linda, you and I both know that earlier in the day, the McCain camp was a little on the depressed side. I don't think they thought they were going to pull it out.
This has definitely surprised them. They just weren't sure, of course, about those independents and Democrats, this enormous turnout. But they are attributing it to dissatisfaction, by the way, with the Democratic candidates, Bradley and Gore, and dissatisfaction, of course, with Bush.
Linda, thanks very much. Linda Douglas with the McCain campaign. Let's now go briefly to ABC's Dean Reynolds, who covers the Bush campaign. We'll just assume they're not very happy with this. But what they must not be happy with, Dean, is that independents and Democrats turned out in greater number than Republicans.
Well, I have to chuckle listening to Linda talk about the spin that she's getting from the McCain people, because it's the mirror image of what I'm hearing here from the Bush people.
Naturally.
They say that the governor it continues to win Republican votes overwhelmingly, and that McCain's votes among independents and Republicans actually decreases as he goes along on the primary route. Democrats may be voting for him, but hey, you ain't going to win the Republican nomination with Democratic votes.
But the other thing, Dean, is that in South Carolina, George Bush got the real core of the Republican Party there. And in Michigan, he had the Republican machine of Governor Engler. What happened?
Well, Engler turned out to be a very polarizing figure. I mean, a lot of people seem to have gone to vote against him, to embarrass him. In fact, earlier this evening, he said, I take responsibility for this loss. Apparently, a lot of Democrats wanted to embarrass me. I'm not sure that's the way it will really be interpreted, but he's very gracious about it.
Thanks very much, Dean. It certainly makes Michigan, as always, a pivotal state in the fall. We're joined now by George Stephanopoulos, our political analyst on such occasions. George, let's first be honest with people at home and tell them how much the political establishment of the press enjoys the back and forth.
No question about it, Peter. Pig heaven, because this is going to go on for an awful long time. We haven't seen a nomination fight like this since Gary Hart challenged Walter Mondale in 1984 or Ronald Reagan. challenged Jerry Ford in 1976. They were long, they were bloody. In both cases, the front-runner ended up losing the general election.
George, you used an interesting word there, Ronald Reagan. John McCain has been trying to portray himself as a Reagan-like figure, and he pulled in Michigan the same kind of people who voted for Mr. Reagan. What does that augur for, if anything?
Well, what they're going to say is this is the best news that Republicans can have for the general election. John McCain can recreate the party. The irony there, Peter, is that in 1980, George Bush won the Republican primary in Michigan, beating Ronald Reagan by reaching out to, of all people, independents and Democrats.
There's just one problem for John McCain. He does not now face really crucial primaries down the road where independents and Democrats can vote.
He's got a few coming up. He's got Virginia and Washington next week, but the big states, New York and California on March 7th, are both closed for delegates to independents and Democrats. That could hurt him, so he's going to point to Ohio and also say that he can win the popular vote, the beauty contest in the state of California, to show just how strong he is.
A very quick clarification here. In New York and California, people can vote for him. They just can't win delegates to the convention.
In California, that's the case. In New York, it's closed
Right.
all Republicans.
Thanks very much. George Stephanopoulos, our political analyst for this evening. Let's go on. When we come back, wherever you are, the rising number of children being given stimulants and antidepressants. Children young enough to be in preschool. And tonight we're going to take a closer look at creating human cells in the laboratory. New hope for extending life to quite remarkable lengths.
Man, what rhymes with elation?
Creation. Temptation.
Dividend reinvestment participation. Market capitalization. European market fluctuation. Industry globalization. Assets allocation. What?
When we created a smarter kind of investment firm, we created a smarter kind of investor.
Too many syllables?
See near, see far, without glasses. The AccuView bifocal contact lens with pupil intelligent design. Call 1-800-531-2121 for a free trial pair certificate or visit your eye care professional.
Buck's a mighty dog. Dogs his size live longer than larger dogs, so Buck gets Mighty Dog Senior, the perfect balance of nutrients and now more vitamin A for vision. Mighty Dog Senior. It makes your dog a mighty dog. From Friskies.
I was miserable. My antacid didn't do the whole job. Then I tried Alka-Seltzer.
Only Alka-Seltzer relieves heartburn and pain and has the effervescent power to speed relief.
It made a believer out of me.
Get better relief. Get Alka-Seltzer.
There is a study in tomorrow's issue of the Journal of the American Medical Association which finds a significant rise in the use of prescription stimulants and antidepressants among the young. With the growing aware of mental illness, that shouldn't come as a great surprise until you hear that these new users are approximately ages 2 through 4. The biggest increase is in the use of Ritalin. Here's ABC's John McKenzie.
Ritalin is used to treat attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. The study found that between 1991 and 1995, Ritalin prescriptions for preschoolers jumped by as much as 300%, to as many as 1 out of every 100 children between the ages of 2 and 4.
The use of medications in this age group clearly appears to be inappropriate when used on such a widespread basis.
Dr. Joseph Coyle, head of the Harvard Psychiatry Department, says there are extreme cases where Ritalin is appropriate for preschoolers. But he says this rapid increase in prescriptions raises a number of troubling questions. For example, are these children getting proper diagnosis? The typical symptoms of attention deficit hyperactivity can easily be misleading in preschoolers.
High levels of impulsivity, hyperactivity, and inattention can be found from time to time in normal 3-year-olds, and this makes it more difficult.
Even if the diagnosis is correct, is Ritalin the proper treatment? Many doctors are enthusiastic about Ritalin because it can be so effective in treating older children. But in younger children, there have been only a few studies with mixed results. While it is not illegal to prescribe Ritalin to preschoolers, the warning label clearly states Ritalin should not be used in children under 6 years, since safety and efficacy in this age group have not been established. And safety is of particular concern. From birth to 4 years of age, the brain is undergoing dynamic, unparalleled development. And no one knows the long-term impact of starting on Ritalin this early.
The earlier you introduce these psychiatric drugs in the treatment of a very young child, the more you may influence the development of motor skills, language skills, and personality.
Some researchers say this study is further evidence that when it comes to very young children and psychiatric disorders, many doctors may be too quick to diagnose and too willing to prescribe medications. John Mackenzie, ABC News, New York.
Now we're going to go overseas. In southern Africa tonight, it's the disaster for Mozambique. For this struggling nation, which has seen so much war and so much privation, there's no other word for it. There on the edge of the Indian Ocean, it's a disaster. Parts of the country are underwater. 2 weeks of rain and flooding have killed at least 150 people and driven more than 300,000 people from their homes. We came out of the floods with nothing, this man says. There is no food. It was all washed away. Some relief arrived by helicopter today, but tonight comes the news that Cyclone Helene is bearing down on the coast with 160-mile-an-hour winds. Mozambique was a country on the mend. Its civil war ended years ago. Its economy has been growing faster and more efficiently than any other economy in Africa. They will know in the morning how far this has set them back. Overseas today, the human rights organization Human Rights Watch says that Russian mercenaries massacred at least 62 civilians and probably many more in Chechnya's capital Grozny earlier this month. The Russians, who made it very difficult for human rights monitors and journalists to work in Chechnya, says it is not so. Next on the broadcast, cellular charges for incoming calls. Should the government change the rules?
Beauty is a curse. Why couldn't I have just resisted the thousands of beauty ideas in my yellow pages? The pedicures, the makeovers, the aromatherapies. Beauty is a curse.
Love it. Massage. 10 minutes.
She wants me.
Good boy, Simon.
When your dog is the star of a syndicated comic strip, you get lots of fan mail. Okay, Simon gets most of it. When we ran the strip where Simon snubs his food, people sent all kinds of dog food. I read the labels, and in every bag of Purina One brand beef and rice formula, beef is the #1 ingredient. In lots of designer dog foods, it's corn. So I let Simon try Purina One. I'd say it went over pretty well. Purina One, second to none.
Itchy allergic rash? The dermatologist I work for recommends Cordate. It stops the itch and helps heal the rash to restore your skin. There's no brand doctors recommend more. In fact, doctors recommend Cordate more than 4 to 1 over Cortisone 10. Cordate, restore your skin.
America's top critics are calling the Cider House Rules a stunning achievement. Time magazine calls it a tribute to the human spirit. And now it's nominated for 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture of the Year. The Cider House Rules, rated PG-13, now playing.
Who is the 300 driver?
The 300 has always been built for people who love to drive.
They're the type of people who like the feel of a flying machine.
It's a car America can be proud of.
At the heart of every 300 roars its mighty engine.
Chrysler 300M, the most powerful sports sedan in its class, engineered off the beaten path.
You'll find yourself hoping almost immediately that more paths will stay unbeaten.
Chrysler 300M. Car and Driver's 10 Best 2 years running.
On the money tonight, hundreds of truckers converged on Washington, D.C. today to demonstrate against rising fuel prices. The cost of diesel fuel has nearly doubled since last year. The truckers want President Clinton to repeal the 24-cent per gallon federal excise tax on diesel until the price goes back below $1 a gallon. On Wall Street today, it was certainly an up-and-down day. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up more than 85 points at the close at 10,304. On the NASDAQ, stocks were down more than 29 points. Still on the money, a very interesting debate. Should people who use cellular phones pay to get calls as well as make them? 80 million people in the country now have cell phones. They're no longer a high-price luxury, which is why the Federal Communications Commission is being pressured by wireless companies to make cell phone bills more like regular phone bills by making the caller pay. Here's ABC's Bob Jamieson.
What court are we going?
Analysts say the FCC proposal could immediately lower cell phone bills by as much as 20%. Since the very beginning of wireless service in the United States, the cell phone customer has paid the cost of incoming calls. But that's never been the case in most of the rest of the world, where the caller pays. That's one reason cited for the explosive growth of cell phones in Europe, where in some countries they now outnumber regular phones.
Well, what it's done for the consumer is it's gradually driven down the prices, because the greater the volume, the lower the prices and the more competition. In the United States, that's what we would see.
Now, when you use your home phone to call a friend's cell phone, your friend pays the cell phone charges. But under the proposed rules, the call would be your responsibility. You would pay for your friend's cell phone airtime and per-minute rate. And if your friend happened to be out of town when his cell phone rang, add in his long-distance rate and cell phone roaming charges, whatever his plan calls for. Even though the FCC would require a message notifying the caller he would pay, consumer advocates predict the average home phone bill might double.
Unfortunately, the policymakers have gotten things backwards here because they haven't looked at the direct impact on the average consumer. We hope they will before they go forward with this crazy plan. It was concern about consumers that kept the FCC from taking action earlier this month. But many in the cellular phone industry believe that sooner or later, the new rules will be approved. Bob Jameson, ABC News, New York.
The booming economy has created some interesting challenges at this time of very low unemployment. Companies are finding they actually need to make their employees happy. And they are struggling to find qualified workers, looking in places where they have not automatically looked before. For the mentally disabled, it's been a rare chance to prove that they can do a job and do it well. Here's ABC's Brian Rooney.
Hi, how are you? For many people newly employed in this full employment economy, these are dream jobs. Bagging groceries in Phoenix, running fax machines in Minneapolis, stacking computer parts near Atlanta.
I love this job. It's much easier for me to do, and it keeps me going. I'm happy here.
By one estimate, the number of mentally disabled workers holding jobs has tripled in the last 10 years. Spurred by local advocacy groups, some employers have discovered that mentally retarded and disabled people can be great workers. Bosch's grocery markets in Arizona employ 60 mentally disabled people.
They come in every day ready, willing, and able to do their job, and they love it. Whereas when we hire a lot of folks off the streets who aren't challenged, we get a tremendous turnover.
Thank you, my dear.
So while employers get dependable workers, these new workers get money and a degree of independence they've never had. And some employers are pleasantly surprised by the abilities of mentally disabled workers. Jamie Stevens, for instance, is barely able to speak. But for the last 3 years, Stevens has competently maintained 27 copy machines at the Federal Department of Transportation in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
It's actually work that has to be done and that he's suited for and does a good job with. We're trying to find other positions like that for more people.
The mentally disabled tend to remain outside the social mainstream of the workplace. But some of them, to the surprise of their employers, want to climb the job ladder like everyone else. Christine Ferlito is a lab assistant at Children's Hospital in Boston, but she really wants a job working with animals.
More. Yeah, more accomplished.
With the new attitude among employers, she and many people like her just might have the chance to do it. Brian Rooney, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Real benefits of a good economy. Next on the broadcast, when the body breaks down, what if you could just grow new parts?
World News Tonight with Peter Jennings and a closer look. Brought to you by Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete.
Well, when I got hurt in this work, thought I had supplemental insurance.
Supplemental insurance? What's that? Aflac.
Well, even best insurance doesn't give you cash to cover things like lost pay, other expenses. This does.
What does? Aflac.
Shouldn't ask about it at work.
Really? And what's it called? Aflac!
Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete.
Aflac.
I feel anxious. I can't concentrate. I'm so irritable.
If you suffer from excessive worry, it can feel like a mountain of anxiety.
I'll never get it all done. I'm overwhelmed.
But a prescription medication called Buspar can help. If overwhelming unfounded worry and several of these symptoms last for 6 months or more, it may mean you have generalized anxiety disorder. Ask your doctor if Buspar is right for you as part of an overall treatment program. Buspar can help you manage those feelings. And Buspar isn't habit-forming and isn't likely to make you groggy. Buspar isn't right for everyone. Advise your doctor of any medications you may be taking, particularly MAOIs, to avoid potential drug interactions. Some people experience side effects such as excitement, headache, nausea, dizziness, lightheadedness, and nervousness. Talk to your doctor about Buspar today or call 1-877-5-BUSPAR. Worries don't have to overwhelm your life. Relax. Buspar can help you handle it.
Good evening, Batman.
Alfred.
I've stepped up safety in the Batmobile, sir.
Really?
Should a villain steal it, someone will track it. If your airbag goes off, an advisor will assist you. If you're stranded, satellites will help locate you.
And where have you put all these things?
Just press the OnStar button, sir.
Well done, Alfred.
My pleasure, sir.
OnStar, how can I help you, Batman? Why is Lysol spray the best way to help protect your family? Because of what it does, kills the cold bug in seconds, and what it doesn't do, leave the sticky film Clorox spray does. That's why nothing beats Lysol.
We're going to take a closer look tonight at the astonishing idea of growing entire new parts for the human body, growing them like plants. Now, we all know what happens to the body as we get older. In fact, often some of us can hear it creaking. But here we are just stepping into the 21st century. And there is a pioneering new technology that may be able to make us, or parts of us to start with, just like new. In the biotechnology field, certainly, and in medicine generally, this is about as exciting as DNA. Here's ABC's Deborah Amos.
Listen to what this scientist has to say.
As a human race, we may see our final frontier is conquering death itself.
Conquering death. The research in this building is dedicated to that astonishing possibility. Anti-aging specialist and biotech entrepreneur Michael West is quite confident that science has the potential to make humans immortal. That's right, immortal.
I would not underestimate the power of science and medicine to unlock the mechanisms of aging and give human beings the choice of whether they want to have a lifespan of 100 years, a lifespan of 500 years, or an indefinite lifespan.
One possible way to get there is by using human embryonic stem cells. These cells can form every kind of human tissue. The problem is, these cells exist only at the very beginning of life. Then, as human beings form, these cells become specific tissues and organs. Now, new technology is actually able to create human embryonic stem cells in the lab.
The concept here is to take a cell from your body, cell from a patient who needs a new kidney or a new liver, and to take that cell back in time to the beginning of life, where we can make these all-powerful cells that can become any cell or tissue type for you. That's your own cells that will not be rejected by your body.
Turning human embryonic stem cells into human organs, a heart, a kidney, the parts that break down when we age, is the next big step. Research in animals shows how it might be done. One example, at Washington University in St. Louis, neurobiologist David Gottlieb has learned how to stimulate the embryonic stem cells of a mouse to make nerve cells.
I predict the ability to direct human embryonic stem cells along different pathways will come, and that it will match what we can now do in the mouse.
I think the exciting point of where we're at today is the hardest step of all, making the clock run in reverse, taking an old cell, making it young again. I think that's the most difficult step, and that step we've accomplished.
A step into a remarkable new technology that may alter the end of life by using cells from our very beginning. Deborah Amos, ABC News, Boston.
So what if science does progress to the point where people could live to 150? Tomorrow we'll take a look at some remarkable surgical techniques that doctors say will be necessary along the way. When we come back, a final note on politics and stagecraft.
Will extra amenities in your life lead to greater happiness? Are 64 crayons in a box better than 8? Is there such a thing as too many cable channels? Introducing the all-new, redesigned Avalon, the most luxurious, most refined sedan we've ever created.
If you can do this, you can make wood beautiful with Minwax. And if you can do this, you can give wood lasting protection. Turning a house into a beautiful home is as easy as turning to Minwax.
I may look young, but I still suffer from hot flashes. I discovered a natural way to deal with it. New Healthy Woman from the makers of Monistat. Healthy Woman's a soy menopause supplement that helps relieve hot flashes in a natural way. New Healthy Woman.
A computer that is so last century. Introducing iPac, the first internet device for business. A kinder, simpler device with the Intel Pentium 3 processor that taps into the power of the internet and meets all your business computing needs. The age of simple internet computing has arrived. iPac from Compaq.
Tonight and tomorrow.
Oh, God. He's a cop.
It's Blue ×2. With one amazing new detective.
I'm Baldwin Jones.
All new NYPD Blue, ABC tonight and tomorrow at 10/9 Central. Viewer discretion advised.
Coming up next on Channel 2 News, Northwest drivers know trucks kick up a lot of spray on a rainy day, and now that problem could get even worse. Find out why the safety devices that help stop the spray may be coming off. I'm Steve Dunn. The news is next.
Finally this evening, what do you carry in your pockets? We have been reminded during recent presidential debates of the Boy Scout motto, be prepared. Last night, for example, during the Democratic debate in New York, it was Bill Bradley who suddenly produced a sheaf of papers.
I've also brought today
In this case, which he said proved that Al Gore had voted for tax-exempt status for schools that discriminated against minorities.
But I'd like you to have it now, Al.
Gore wouldn't touch the papers. But it wasn't long before he suddenly produced a newspaper clipping which said Bradley was in favor of a special prosecutor to investigate the Clinton-Gore fundraising scandal. Mr. Gore had done the pocket trick before.
That is the only one where a family of 4
in New Hampshire when they were debating health care.
All down. You didn't pull this ad. I did.
George Bush has done it. He had a McCain flyer burning a hole in his pocket when the Republicans were going at it in South Carolina.
It's not by my campaign.
What says paid for by John McCain?
It is not by my campaign.
Mr. McCain had his surprise when they were debating abortion.
Then you know it's interesting.
It's the political equivalent of pulling a rabbit out of a hat. If you're lucky, your opponent is flustered.
There was a lot of hedging about this pledge.
Steve Forbes did it to Mr. Bush on his no tax pledge.
I have a copy of it here, signed by Governor Bush.
Maybe you impress the television audience. Maybe you make the front page. It's a boy thing. Just before we leave this evening, ABC News is now able to project a winner in the Michigan Republican primary, John McCain. He defeats George Bush by a comfortable margin. The story is of a Republican primary where independents and Democrats who voted actually made the difference. Take a look at this. 65% of Republicans who voted went for Mr. Bush. However, among Democrats, 11% voted for Mr. Bush and 80% for Mr. McCain. Among independents, 28% voted for Bush, 65% for Mr. McCain. There'll be more on Nightline. Continuous coverage on ABC. I'm Peter Jennings. Good night.